Well, I'm joined once again by the experts on nasty plants, or as they would call them, invasive plant species, which actually sounds more nasty. Richard Podmore, David Layland from Japanese Knotweed Control. How are you, gents?
Great,
very
thanks,
well,
Paul.
thanks.
Good. Now, today we are chatting horsetail. This looks very nice, this one, very friendly. Why is it not friendly? What is it and where's it from?
Well, horsetail is native to the UK. It dates back to prehistoric times. Highly invasive plant, and I think it comes to any high street near you at the moment. It's you'll find it pretty evident growing through tarmac and car parks and in people's gardens. As you say, it's quite an attractive plant. Grows to a height of about 4.5 foot. Looks like a little fir tree when it starts to emerge. Little spindly leaves are very waxy, quite thin. The problem with horsetail is the fact it's highly invasive and lots of extensive root systems underneath the ground, and very problematic to get rid of.
So I've heard it described as a living fossil. It's been around 100 million years, and I guess in that time it's worked out how to survive.
It certainly has, and it adapts itself to the local environment. It will grow practically anywhere, and as you say, it's prehistoric, so it's got lots of history behind it.
Right, so it's Jurassic. Why is it so bad?
As I say, the main thing is it's invasive, so I mean, it colonises our flower beds, and as I said, if you put tarmac over the top of it, it's very strong in terms of its growth, so it will grow through and damage tarmac and all the problems that creates.
What does it look like? You mentioned it like a little fir tree type thing.
Yeah, it starts to emerge in the early spring. It looks like a little fir tree when it starts to grow up. It goes to a height of about 4.5 in height. Waxy leaves, tightly curled leaves, and the stem of it's like a brownish, yellowish colour in terms of the colouring on the actual stem itself.
Great. So, Richard, we can bury it in tarmac. How do we get rid of it?
With great difficulty. Horsetail, mare's tail has become more prevalent within kind of as an invasive over the last couple of years. You will notice it a lot on watercourses, but as David had said, it literally does come everywhere because nothing's ever been done with it previously, because it's not been identified. It does tend to show itself in new build estates where remediation hasn't been carried out, so it will, as David said, it'll go through pavements and driveways. The way to treat it, obviously, is from a commercial perspective, is to do it before you're actually at that point. From a gardening perspective, it's very, very difficult to get rid of. In fact, almost impossible. The ordinary herbicides don't really work on it. There are specialist herbicides that are specific for horsetail and mare's tail, but again, they are licensed products, so you're not allowed to buy them unless you've got a license. It really is a case of, if you want to get rid of it, you can stress it, but that again will potentially cause it to spread. You have to keep on top of it almost on a daily basis. We do use a lot of root barriers, membranes, for protecting grounds, gardens, that kind of thing, when we identify horsetail. So that really is the best way of preventing it from doing any further damage.
How does it spread? Because I believe has it got spores inside that just kind of all ping out?
Yeah, the little spores and the rhizome from underneath the subsoil as well will spread it very easily. So it's very easy to move soil from one area to another and potentially cross-contaminate at the same time. The worst thing you can do with horsetail is pull it. Pulling it out of the ground stimulates that rhizome growth underneath the subsoil. So we see people pulling it out thinking they're doing a good job. In fact, they're actually spreading it further. And the root systems can go down to a depth of 2 to 2.5 metres in depth. So it goes down incredibly far. And they're very, very fine in terms of the root systems. Quite hard to trace out.
It's Jurassic, so it knows what it's doing. So how do you guys get rid of it? Is it an injection system, or is it just excavation?
There's a number of ways. We can use herbicides, as Richard said earlier, commercial strength herbicides to get rid of it. There's some specialist ones that we can actually use specifically for horsetail. The hardest thing is actually applying the herbicide so it sticks to the leaf. The leaves are very, very fine, very thin, very narrow, and very waxy. So sometimes what we do is we actually damage the leaves very gently with gloves on, and actually just rub the leaves until they actually break a little bit, and then actually apply a herbicide. But it's many repeat applications over a number of years. It's not an instant solution to get rid of it. Or, as Richard said, on commercial sites, when they're building car parks and pathways, we use a specialist membrane which we lay over the top of the infestation, and that prevents it then from growing through the tarmac and damaging it. Or the most expensive option is to excavate and take it away. But as I said, the root systems do go down quite some way.
Right, so this one's a bit of a complicated one. I think the message there is don't try this one at home. It's not a home one to do, is it?
Definitely not.
Definitely not, no.
Of course, you may want the experts to eradicate your horsetail. Visit JapaneseKnotweedControl.com for more information on this nasty chap. David Layland, Richard Podmore, once again, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Right.